So ladies, I've pushed the record button and I just want to make sure that you're okay with that. So if any objection, let me know. And otherwise, then that's it. So welcome to our teaser sneak preview session of Women Leading in Change, our leadership program of Female Wave of Change. And we have two beautiful teachers, Tanja from Slovenia and Susie from Australia, who are going to give us their sneak preview of what we're going to teach when we're online again for the full program in September. So welcome to you all. My name is Renee van der Burg, and I'm welcoming you all. And I give the floor gladly to Susie and Tanja for this session.
Thank you, Renee, and thank you, ladies, that you took your time and that you will spend this hour with us, with Susie. And just for the intro, and then I'll give the floor also to Susie to say a few words about herself, and then how we're going to do the session. But actually, we two met at Women Leading in Change program last year. And it was quite a group for all of us to learn from each other around the world, and then also on ourselves and our leadership. And for today's session, to make really a small essence of it, but then also to use this time during COVID-19 and after, not to wait that everything will change. We used the title From Breakdown to Breakthrough. All of our sessions are on self-leadership. So also today we will focus on self-leadership, but how to use the outside environment, challenges, and then also how to deal with the inside, which is usually the first thing that starts and then the outside shows. And we also believe that self-leadership starts with self-awareness. So both being very practical and operational and goal-oriented, this will be also today's session. Not so much theory as presenting from personal experiences and tools, how to use them. So you'll have something to take away already today, and you can share also with us after, but then much more and in depth and broader in the whole program, hopefully soon to meet there. So my name is Tanja Bogataj. I'm from Slovenia. I'm a leadership and transformational coach and consultant. And before, I'm now 2.5 years in my business, but before I've done one career in public sector. I was in the government of Slovenia a long time, and where I enjoyed there, learned a lot, but now also enjoying working with people one-on-one. And it gives me also the pleasure that I can use knowledge and experiences now in the Female Wave of Change, where I'm the ambassador for Slovenia and coordinator for Balkan region. And before we go into the content, maybe Susie, a few words about yourself.
Yeah, hey everyone, thanks for joining us. My name is Susanne Staton. My background is in corporate, over 18 years in the telecommunications industry. But I had a love for small business and personal development, which has led me on a path to what I call myself today. I hate titles, to be perfectly honest, but to try to differentiate, where I sit and what it is that I offer. I call myself a brand ambassador, which is about human-to-human business development and a social entrepreneur, because I'm looking to have social impact, not just chase the profit for profit purpose. So I'm ambassador for Australia, Female Wave of Change, and I share that title with a couple of other lovely ladies here that hopefully you'll meet, or that you might already know as part of Female Wave of Change. So that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you. So it's us leading you through this session, and we thought to do it won't be in two parts. We like to make it more connected and more engaging also with you. So there will be some parts that you can engage and raise a question, or we're going to use some tools, and please, if you'll be willing to play with us. So we have most out of it, us being here on the session, but also others following us, and then we can develop even more in the real program. So the first part, more the context, where we are when we are facing potential breakdown, but we have an opportunity, what to do with it. And Susie, start rebooting our mindset.
Yeah, so this is one of the slides and the theories that we take you through during the Reshaping the Future and Women Leading in Change program. And for this particular just little teaser, I wanted to just give more of a context in terms of how I'm using this right now, given COVID, and put it more in terms of, you know, what it means to me and how I've been utilizing this thought process. So again, stop us if you want at any time, or alternatively, if you want to wait to the end and ask questions, whichever suits you. We're really open to having this as a conversation piece, and ideally, you know, as I'm going through some of, you know, my own experiences, I'd love for you to share at the end, and through this session, you know, what it is that you know resonates with you and or that you've experienced, because I know from my going through the Women Leading in Change program, that was one of the key things that was a real takeout for me, was the opportunity to share and learn from other people's experience. So so where do we start? Okay, so as you can see in this slide, you know, from the way that this talks to is that right now, you know, the majority of us are in this zone of maximum confusion, really. And certainly at the start of the whole COVID process, you know, for me, it was understanding what to let go of, because I was getting overwhelmed. So one of the key concepts that came through with this concept of grieving, you know, the fact that we're all grieving right now for the loss of our way of life, just like you might lose, you know, and grieve over a loved one. And then the being comfortable with that, or being comfortable with that, and then looking at what are some of the lessons that we've learned as part of the process. And then there's the standing back and scanning for emerging trends. So looking or conditioning your mindset to go, okay, well, what is it that I can influence? You know, there's a lot of media, as we know, out there at the moment around COVID, and for me, this bit was about not only focusing on what was happening in my own country and the bigger picture, but predominantly what I used this part of the process for was to focus on the positives, you know, not just the negatives, because there's a lot of negative media out there at the moment. And then in terms of engaging with perspectives of disruptive innovators, again, this may come to that concept of understanding that our brains have a bias because of the amygdala, that 6 to 9 times, you know, you're going to get more negative information through than it is positive, just based on neuroscience. So how do we change that? How do we overcome that innate way that we're built as humans? And that to me is around engaging different perspectives, you know, looking out and understanding, you know, who's talking positive social impact at this time, you know, what are the trends? You know, for me personally, that's around technology, you know, what's coming through that's actually disrupting and creating a positive impact. And as you can see, you know, the majority of us are still sitting in this uncertainty and discomfort. So how do we then, you know, start to come out that other side, you know, and reboot your mindset and embrace, basically, you know, where we're at. So it is for me about getting comfortable with the changes that we're going through, because change to me is uncomfortable, particularly initially. It's often messy in the middle, but I do believe from my own personal experience that it can be really beautiful on the other end, particularly when I look back and reframe, you know, some difficulty that I've been going through. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate, you know, on a personal level. You know, so many different stories out there of tragedy, but through tragedy comes positive changes, if that's what you're intending and focusing your mindset on. And that is where we're talking about, really about this whole focusing. And for me, it was during the period focusing back into my North Star. You know, what's my mission? What's my purpose? Where are my values? And using that as the lens through which I would identify the opportunities and the types of solutions that I wanted to be involved in, and therefore experimenting with those new learnings and testing the theory. So, you know, in that part, I sort of talked a little bit about, you know, where I've identified people like Stephen Kotler. He's like, some of you might know him. He runs the Flow Research Collective. And it's really about utilising what they have collated in terms of research around neuroscience and neurobiology and basically just how our brains work to try to get into flow, you know, and flow is just this, what I would consider an ultimate state of just being present, you know, and being through that presence productive, you know, in whatever way and shape that might be. And that might just be being productive in you know, the cake that I'm making, or it might be in the work that I'm doing, you know, or the impact that I want to make on a larger scale. So yeah, that's really just again a short overview of what we take you through in regards to how to reboot your mindset in the context of my own personal experience. As it is in the current environment. And then a little bit about the growth story, you know, so going for that breakthrough. And again, I think that this is really relevant to where we are in this COVID scenario, because I know for me personally, again, you know, I don't want to go back to business as usual. You know, like I am really concerned about how the way that capitalism and, you know, some of the things that we focus on just don't take in the whole capacity of who we are as humans, you know. But you've also got this concept of change as usual, you know, so maybe we do make some incremental changes and we do move forward, but it sort of feels like, you know, in doing that, are we really going to be beneficial in the end, you know, particularly given, you know, as I said, for me personally, it's around technology, you know, and where technology is leading. But we've also got to be mindful about the fact that you can tip too far, you know, and for me, during this crisis, I've definitely gone into breakdown on a number of occasions. So emotionally, I've felt overwhelmed with the amount of information and everything that's going through. But using what we just talked through in regards to the last slide, and in particular my focus on my North Star, I come back to this, as you see here, you know, this quote from the Transformation of Growth, which, as you can see, was published back in 2017. So got a few years, you know, in, and change as usual has been happening, and there's been talk about this sustainability revolution. But I really am starting to feel optimistic now that the crisis that we're experiencing is giving us all an opportunity to really focus on trying to get to that breakthrough and make systemic changes in our world, not just change as usual. And some of the things that I use to help reset my thought process, Peter Diamandis, you may or may not be familiar with him, again, he's in that tech space, is, you know, some of the questions I'll often ask myself, which he talks to in his laws, are, you know, when I'm in doubt, what matters to me? Think for myself, you know, And that comes back again to this concept of self-leadership. And the best way for us to predict the future is to create it ourselves. So there's no set future, you know, we get to choose. And if you think it's impossible for you, then it is. You know, what is our appetite for change? And keeping, you know, those concepts front of mind has definitely helped me focus on the breakthrough that I want to achieve and continuing on my impact as a social entrepreneur. Yeah, that's my journey. Let's make some waves together, and that's what being part of the Female Wave of Change for me, it definitely is. So, and yeah, we want to ask some questions or move into tying this all up.
Just go a slide back. Yeah, we'll continue. Just go back to the last slide that you had. Yeah. So we'll use that. You know, coaches love questions, so we ask more questions than when is one there. But let's reflect a little bit, because this is a sneak peek of the program of Women Leading in Change, because as Susie said, we learn from each other. And that's the biggest part. You learn on yourself, you prepare for the session, you go through the exercises, but then what happens in the session is also how we learn from each other, and in a way, what addressed you. So you're not obliged to exchange, but maybe only that we see where we are at with all of you, or all together, on the idea from break down to breakthrough. And then something maybe that you heard either from the content or shared experience from Susie that reflects you in this COVID-19, and then we'll move on. So it's just that we feel ourselves a little bit, but then idea about breakdown to breakthrough, how it reflects with you, how do you relate with it? Or if you want to relate it to some of these questions, what matters now to you? What you will choose, how hungry are you for the change, or we for the change? Just some thoughts, no pressure, maybe some shares.
Can we stop sharing, Susie? Because then we can see each other. If we put on gallery view, then we can see everyone, and it's maybe easier to,
sure.
easier to interact.
I think if I may say something that I think is important, and I think Susie said this best, and that is the mindset is ultimately important in this process of change, because ultimately, you know, if you believe you can't, you absolutely can't. But if you believe that you can, you absolutely will. So there is a significant value to changing the mind in order for action to then follow. You know, it's the law of physics. Ultimately, I think that that's the greatest value that we can bring to each other, because oftentimes we get mired down in the everyday that we hear, especially, I guess, in this climate that we're living in. And perhaps for some of you who are outside of the United States, for those of us who don't support Trump, this is by far, for the last 3 years, has been one of the worst times in our history. And now to add to that, we have the loss of so many people and the loss of life as we have known it for so long. So I think that, you know, focused on that ultimately just leads to more negativity. And it's a reality. It's not like we can overlook it. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, life has to go on. And someone once told me that a day only lasts 24 hours. No matter how bad it is, tomorrow will be a new day. Whether we want it to be or not, tomorrow is another day. So I always try to remember that because it really is about the mindset. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing, Marilu. That's, really, really important point.
Yeah, and like Marilu just said, taking one day at a time is really something that we can do for ourselves now. And just identify the emotions, what is there, what does that mean, and changing the mindset is also really powerful when trying to reestablish a new norm, a new way out of that. And let's stay positive. Sus, thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you for giving us such a rich information and also clear guidelines of what we can do moving forward. I think you've touched me when you dealt with letting go of what no longer serves us. So my own experience during this period was that there is a need to rest and have fun so you can do good business. And that there is a need even in business environments, corporate environments, to deal with stress and mental health. I don't know what's happening in other countries, but in our country, psychologists, psychiatrists, the hospitals are busy because now people were overwhelmed, and perhaps things that have always been there manifested even bigger. So that said is that we need to leave what does not serve us, but go back to the basics as well. So part of my aha moments was that, I don't know when last did I create moments just for joy, for fun, relaxing, connecting with those that I love, connecting with new people, building new relationships. And in an interesting way, that stimulates innovation because it changes your mindset in a good headspace. So on that note, I am grateful for this session. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Yvonne.
Yeah, also what I want to throw in, thank you very much, Susie. What spoke to me the most was when you talked about it's a simple universal rule that says that the universe says to us, your wish is my command. Whatever you say, then it's there to listen. And often at times we block ourselves from achieving the best there is under the circumstances. The circumstances don't have to be conducive for you to achieve what's out there. So that spoke to me in a very big way because I'm I choose to adhere to the universal laws and be mindful of my thoughts and the power of the tongue, what escapes my mouth. And that was really, really powerful for me. And also the one that also spoke to me the most was the best way to predict the future is to take the bull by its horns, literally, and say, okay, how do I envision my future? What is it that I see? What is it that I want for my future? Therefore, create it. What do you do? What can you put together? Which doors can you knock on to create that future that you want? Because the future is out there. It's not gonna come knocking to you. You must go out there and get it. Yeah. So thank you very much.
That's awesome, Tanaki. Yeah, and I think picking up on what you're saying as well as Yvonne, in particular, this concept of being true to ourselves and giving ourselves the opportunity and space to envisage that future. That's what have been another key learning for me in that first section of letting go was allowing myself time, really having reset time, going for walks, as you said, Iman, you know, like connecting with those that we love. And it's just been really heartfelt how many phone calls I've received and given, and, you know, the real conversations that we're having now, rather than surface, how are you, I'm fine type of things. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's by the way also one thing that I recognize really, that you just, of course you still have a little bit chit chat, but you move quite quickly with people you know, but also with people you know less, in quite deep conversations about what does it do to you and how do you cope in these times. And yeah, I think you come closer or easier to the real you or the authentic you, and just no mask, you know, like what you were sharing, Susie, is so, I mean, it's quite personal what you have been sharing. And that's what I see, and that's what I like, because then I think we come much closer to this authentic leadership, or even for us, authentic family leadership. And that's what we want and what we need in the world. So yeah. That's what I have experienced too.
Thank you. So we have Adriana and Anna Maria. Anusha, if you want to add to this point, otherwise we go further, because I see you're ready for some changes. You're ready to create a future. Would you like also you to share what brought up? Or you'll do in the second round?
I shared a little bit a while ago. I will let Anna Maria talk about that.
I want to apologize, but I had a breakdown of internet and breakthrough into enlightenment of this major forum. I apologize for that, but that's reality. So
thank you for reminding. Yeah, thank you, Tanja.
So thank you, Tanja, and thank you all ladies for all these wonderful experiences. In my time, also in my place, was also very interesting, and I was thinking really, as I hear you said, asking yourself, what is really your mission? What are your values you are following? What you can do? And I started to listen different researches, and from immunology scientists, what was the most important thing that in the past people survived through all this pandemiology. And in all cases, the most important was social distancing, to take care for the people. Really what matters, it is the contact, the sincere contact, that you call somebody, that you do something for the people you really love, or just for the neighbor, or whatever, that you are really in empathy. Sorry, I just today I'm not the best in English, so I apologize to you. And it's the first time when I meet you. I'm not so comfortable, I can confess. So I was focusing on this, how to overcome and how to help. So I just called to some people what I called, what the call came from my intuition, or I just got a call for some work, for some action, and I just do that. And I started to sew masks, and I sell to people, not sell, I just send to people. I went to the post and I see how many stamps I need to put in the envelope. So I sent to Berlin, to Croatia, to all around. So I started to put my resources in my atelier. I was then doing this and take care for my family and said to them, now this is like a war situation. You need to think about what's the most important. So that to survive, I mean, to take care for you and for other people. So this was really, and I got many thanks, sent it by airplane visit cards. So people was really very grateful. They said, I would like to buy, but I said, no, I can't sell. I'm just doing this because I think the people in the medicine, they're in the first row in this war. So what can I do? I'm like here in the fairy tale. I mean, I'm not in the first row in this line. So this was my small contribution, and I think I feel very good because people was very happy because psychologically they said, I know this mask will protect me. This mask will, I will be very good. So it's very psychologically when from this perspective. So this is just a small part of my experience. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. And it's good that you show some feminine side of it. We are a supportive environment, so it's good that we are also able to be vulnerable and supported being in this state. But thank you all for sharing first impressions, first insight, and what shifted in a way listening to Susie's story, experience, and also the contact. And actually what you presented, sharing yourself, was when we go through breakdowns, we go through many breakthroughs. We just have them. We create the opportunity and we have them. So really thank you for that. But what often stops us to do the change, to start the wave, to contribute to one wave, and we are here in female wave of change, women leading in change, so we like waves. We like the analogy of waves, and we like some changes, and not just to stir up things, but then that there's some positive outcome at the end. And there are 4 assumptions in a way that we all have, and one is usually predominant, why we don't do changes, why we stop ourselves in making changes or bigger changes, more necessary changes. And in a way, if I sum them up, they're here on the presentation. Either I don't know enough who I am to start this, whether I'm enough. The second, it's not my job. This might not work. In a way, it might fail. I might not be successful with it. And someone else might do it or will do it. So we wait that someone else will jump in and do it. And just think for yourself and maybe just share which one of those it's your predominant. It's not right or wrong answer. It's just one that we usually tend to, and one that we notice also in the environment. And it stops us, prevents us to do the change that we want to do. The impulse that we all felt now in the first part, we then stop it. We don't do it, or at least not as big as we would like to. Which one of those? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Any ideas? You can show it with a hand. So we we'll move on further. 1, we have, I don't know enough. This enough, it's quite. Oh, Yvonne, which one do we have? Someone else will do it, or all of them? I don't hear you. Yeah.
For me, it's mainly I don't know enough in areas that I'm not familiar. Yeah. So you've seen how I became so nervous and uncertain, you know, when I only just needed to rely on information technology and whatever. So I think the biggest learning in whatever is becoming more courageous, and also not so much taking care of myself by not exposing myself too much on computers and whatever, but I need also not to be so fearful about its impact on my health, on my brain. That's, I found that this period actually has given me so much strength, so much courage, and it also made me to show up. I think in many ways there are people who understand me better at my areas of weakness. So that acceptance that we spoke about earlier on gave me the courage and the bravery.
Thank you, Yvonne. We're gonna go in the program. We really go here deeper because what we are aware of, we can change. It's our opportunity where we can take choices and different decisions, but we need to be aware of it. And first, it's good because as a group, we had number 1 and 3 in majority. So it's we're not enough. We don't know enough. Who I am to be enough? Why me? Right? I might not be successful with it, or this might not work. So some insecurity, some doubt, and a lot of opportunity to explore a little bit more about it and be aware and be accurate. What really is our challenge there? That we don't do the change or not enough, or we limit ourselves, we push ourselves back. And we go further on with another quote that I think is the most quotable quote, and I like Gandhi in a way as role model leader, but it is be the change you want to see in the world. And we quote it so often in a way to motivate, to inspire. But then the question for all of us, if you're willing to play a little bit more, because we're open now, started to explore, if you see this sentence as you, so be the change you want to see in the world, which change is the change you want to see in the world? And make it as a statement in a way, that's my name. So it could be, for example, I'm Tanja. The change that I want to see in the world is that everyone in this world feels so safe and secure that it's open enough to be who or she is and give the best to the world. So we can co-create and collaborate for a better world for all. And then we're going to see what's the change that you are and potentials that you have and limitations in this regard. So because women leading in change and we female way of change in general.
Oh, I think the line is a little bit broken. Can you hear me? Tanja. It seems that she's frozen a bit. Let's give her a second to come back. Hi, Anastasia. Welcome. We're good, thank you. We're just solving a technical glitch.
Are you about to finish?
Yes, we are about to finish, but please stay on.
I was just here and then I looked, I'm like, I want to But you've been well?
Yes, very good. We're recording also, Anastasia, so I'm trying to get back to Tanja.
Okay.
Tanja, where you are. I'm gonna mute you. Sorry for that. Oh, there she is, Tanja. You wanna have us take over, or are you good with your connection?
I apologize, ladies.
No problem. Technology can sometimes help.
I would like to call it COVID, but it's not. It's just internet playing with me.
It's okay.
I apologize, but that's the change, right? So yeah, if you would like to share, you don't have to, but it's a good exercise. It will bring you to the next step that you can already do today, regardless of COVID.
Yes. So I think we have just a few minutes to finalize. So if there's anyone definitely on your question, Tanja, to want to share on this, please feel free. Unmute yourself.
Okay, let me start my share which is what I'd like to do. And that's the potential that I have to unleash potential in others, to inspire them to tell their own stories so they can be free and heal. But also, I think my potential is also to help people to be aware of who they are, so they can build on their strength and contribute towards creating a free, peaceful, joyful, harmonious world. That's what I think my potential is. My limitations to be the change that I want are physical. So because of my left, which is not so 100%, but I have learned that I shouldn't be afraid to look for supports in that area. So I think that's what I think I should be planning ahead to do, that not be so afraid to do as much as I could and to reach out to as many people as I can and as often as it should be, without necessarily risking my health or worrying about what is happening on the left brain, on the hips. And a lot of people don't know, because of my left, the side of the stroke, so my left hand is not so 100%. That's why typing things all day is not good enough. But I can talk, I'm alive. Let me use that. And I think the webinars and the videos have given me that strength and the openness to explore things that I've never explored before. Because I've never, like, for instance, done meditation online. I do it face-to-face with people in the centers where I participate. But that was a new thing, and it was a breakthrough on limitations and the things that we say to ourselves, I can't. So that said,
Thank you.
I've taken a bold step.
Anyone else? So we don't prolong too much, but if there's someone more. There's a chance for a breakthrough.
Susie, can we stop sharing, or do you need the slides again? Then we can see everyone. Better. Thank you.
Are we good? So then maybe from our side, it's we encourage you to join the Women Leading in Change. For me personally, that was, I thought it's another leadership program. Of course, I will join, I will learn. I always learn a lot from everyone on leadership, and I'm keen on learning new stuff on leadership. But the most powerful thing was teachers who are really present and really real teachers and learning from experience and their life. And sharing with other women from around the world on the same topic, from different backgrounds, different perspectives. And what happened, the major breakthrough in a way, there were many, but the major, I can do so much, I have so much knowledge, I work a lot, how much and how can I do more? And the relief in a way, and insight that I don't have to do much more, but together with others, find what's there that we can do together. And in a way, pacing a little bit, because it doesn't matter if someone can go ahead, nothing will really change as a community, as a society, and we need to find a few things that you can work together and do changes step by step. And individually, we have many things besides that we can still do. But that was one thing, learning from others from around the world, that we need to pace ourselves to work globally, and also to exchange very openly, and not in a way, not being afraid to share the knowledge and experiences, because they are ours, and this is a gift that we need to share with others and learn from each other. So these things were the most powerful for me. If anyone would, I don't know, like to learn this way, that would be my invite to join us. But thank you for today, and take maybe this with you, be the change that you want to see in the world and what you can do with it.
I thank you, Tanja and Susie, because it was a wonderful session. And it's just because there are two things why I think it's so wonderful. It's one, because Susie and Tanja have been in our program, Women Leading in Change, while Yvonne was teaching, and now they are teaching in the next session. So that's just beautiful, and we're very thankful and grateful for that, to you, both of you ladies. And this session for me also is very, it's just Women Leading in Change, because what the ladies have been doing, Susie and Tanja, they've given you content, great content to reflect. They've given you a safe space to share quite personal things, while we may not all know each other. And the space was there immediately created by Susie and Tanja. And it's also a combination with the practical things. So you have had questions where you can think about, which immediately start your process. Hey, how am I in this situation? Who am I? And what can I, also pointing to what can I do? How can I change? And I think these three elements are just what's in Women Leading in Change. And as Tanja said, we're now having our small sessions for everyone to join. In September, we'll start again with a full-blown virtual global online program. We'll speak about that more. Thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you again, Tanja and Susie. And have a wonderful day. We'll upload the recording, so that everyone can look at it again, but also the ones who haven't been in the session. There are more than enough questions to reflect on, so I hope you'll enjoy it, and see you soon. Thank you very much.
See you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
and thanks to you as well, Renee.
Bye-bye.
Tanja, Susanne.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. We're blessed to have all of you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Much